name's Marsden. I'm in the KL1 class and my best results is gold in Euros and silver at the Worlds. I was this is my fourth sort of international sport. I started with powerlifting, able-bodied, then went on to hand cycling, then shooting, and then got talent ID for this when it came up, because at first it wasn't a Paralympic sport and I was asked to sort of do it by a colleague at a club, but then when it got announced as a Paralympic sport and then they had a proper talent ID, then I sort of moved across. It's not too dissimilar from the hand cycling because you do like the gym work. I like doing a lot of gym work, and you obviously got cardio on the water and sprint stuff, you know, with the hand cycling the last few metres is sprint. So it's not too dissimilar from that, you know. So I like the racing, you know, like next to next, head-to-head racing, whereas like shooting, when you're shooting, you can't influence anyone else's shoot. It's just the overall result at the end. But with canoeing, you can sort of just go full out. I have a sort of like I suppose an adapted seat which is high at the back, and then we have a strap on the seat to hold me into the seat, and then there's like foam fittings in the boat to keep my legs in the same place, sort of fairly central, and then on the foot plate there's a few little adaptations on there just so your feet sit properly flat. It usually, the other athletes tend to sort of try and intimidate me when I've been on the sort of start line in the final, when they've done little sort of sprints right next to my lane to cause wash, you know, before you go into the bucket, you know, so I just sort of blank all that. But I can't really sort of influence what they do. I sort of just look straight down the lane and then just stick with my process. And obviously, you know, my process has worked in the past, and the reason it doesn't work every time I do my process, and just concentrate on that, and then hopefully maybe that might adjust somebody else's, you know, stroke. It did happen. I think it was at the Worlds last year. One of the guys missed a stroke, and then he ended up coming to about 6, you know, from a missed stroke because he was trying to catch up with 2 guys at the front. It's 200 metres flat out, and he just sort of chucking up at the end, and it's just sort of the adrenaline on the start bucket, you know, in the atmosphere, especially internationals, you know, when you've got all the drums and the horns going off, and it's just a great atmosphere. Obviously it's good that we work sort of alongside the Olympic programme as well, because then that sort of gives us a bit of a, you know, highlight as well, because, you know, mainly being an Olympic sport before, we're new into it, then, you know, we can sort of do stuff off the back of them because we're just all one team in the end. At the end, it's sort of trying to get the places. Here we've got a, you know, good setup, we've got a good gym, we've got good coaches, we've got, you know, all the boats, the right equipment, the setup, you know, getting on off the water is great. And that helps us at a team, and we all sort of work together as a team. We train in sort of 2 different time slot groups because of the size of the groups, and we can sort of all work together within those groups and encourage each other. And, you know, and the same happens in the gym as well. When you're in your group, you know, you sort of encourage each other on the training. I suppose, like, you know, everyone describes it as like when you're in a chair, everyone sees you disabled, and when you're driving your car, you know, along the A50 back home, no one knows you're in the chair. You know, you're just a normal, everyday able-bodied person. No one knows you're in a wheelchair at all. And the same as like when you're on the handbike as well. When I used to go training and racing around the world, no one knew it was like, you know, just for, say, people in wheelchairs, because there was able-bodied people racing them as well. So when you're sort of out and about at speeds the same as normal normal road bikes on there, going at the same speeds, you know, on descents, flats, everything, you know, it just gives you that freedom out of the chair. No one knows that you are sort of disabled, really. I suppose same being in a boat. If you sort of like public walking around and we're just on the water, they wouldn't know you're in a wheelchair or you have a disability when you're paddling around. So that makes a difference.